night. Fire dying low. Sabina steps up, voice barely there, "Please broken bar by me. Make me your wife." William freezes. She says, "They're forcing me to marry a man I hate. Take me with you, a broken bar, or I'm done." Next morning, he talks to her uncle. Uncles rule, treat her like a wife, not property. Quick dirt circle ceremony. Boom, they're married. They hit the road. At first awkward, a broken bar, then little laughs, little smiles, trust growing slow. Nights by the fire, stories, soft moments, a broken bar, love creeping in. Then trouble, 3 dudes block the trail. Hand over the Apache girl. William draws. Sabina pulls a knife. Dust flying, bullets snapping, at both of them fighting like they're one. They take the men down. Afterwards, she touches his face. "We protect each other," she whispers. They find a quiet green valley. Build a tiny home. Share peace. Share a life. Sabina says, "You didn't buy me. You freed me." William smirks, holds her close. "And you freed me too. Please broken bar by me and make me your wife," whispered the Apache woman. Her voice was so soft that William's heart wasn't sure he had truly heard her. He turned slowly from the campfire, where he had been warming his hands, and found her standing behind him in the dim shimmer of dying flames. She looked smaller than she had the previous evening, wrapped tightly in a worn blanket, her braids shaking ever so slightly with the cold and fear. Her dark eyes held the weight of something more serious than he was prepared to face. "Mom?" he managed, unsure if he misunderstood her accent or the wind. She swallowed. "I said a broken bar, if you buy me, I can leave. Make me your wife. Please." William stared. In his 30 years of drifting across the West, he had seen desperation in many forms, but never in a whisper like that. He had only met this Apache band 2 nights earlier. He had found their injured horses wandering near a dry arroyo and returned them to the camp. Grateful, they shared their fire and meals with him. He had spoken to the young woman only once when she offered him water. She had not even told him her name. Now she stood trembling, asking him to buy her. "I think there's some mistake," he said carefully. "You don't even know me." "I know enough," she replied. Her voice was low, but steadying. "You did not touch me with your eyes. You did not stare at me like a prize or an animal. You spoke gently to the children. You gave back the horses when you could have kept them." And a broken bar, she stopped, searching for English words. "And you looked at me like a person." William felt his breath hitch. "But that doesn't explain why. They want me married." Her voice cracked. "To a man I hate. To a man who drinks and breaks what he holds. A man who will break me." She shook her head, her braids swinging. "I said number. They do not listen. My uncle says I owe obedience. I say I owe breath to myself." He tried to make sense of her urgency, her fear. "And you want me to broken bar what? March up to your uncle and ask to buy you? Like you're a horse or a bag of corn?" "It is custom here," she said bitterly. "It is a door. I need a door. Once you take me, they will not force me back." After that, a broken bar, she hesitated, eyes trembling. "After that, you may leave me anywhere safe if you want. Or a broken bar, if you do not hate me, a broken bar." Her voice fell into a whisper so timid he had to lean closer to hear it. "You may keep me as a wife. But only if you wish." William stepped back, unable to speak for a long moment. The flames popped and sent sparks swirling upward. The rest of the camp slept silent, unaware of this impossible conversation happening in the shadows. "What is your name?" he asked softly. "Sabina," she said. It was a beautiful name, like a breath carried by wind. "Sabina," he repeated. "Are you sure you want this?" leaving behind your people, your land? Everything you know? My land does not protect me anymore, she whispered. My people do not hear me. And if I stay, I will die in spirit, maybe even in body. If I go with you, even if only for a short time, here I live. William rubbed the back of his neck, feeling the weight of her plea settling into his bones. He had never taken a wife, never stayed long enough in one place to imagine it. He was a wanderer, a man without a past worth remembering or a future worth planning. But as he looked at her, the fear in her stance, the courage in her voice, the quiet fire that burned behind her desperation, he felt something stir inside him. A sense of responsibility. A sense of direction. A sense that maybe fate had led him here. I don't believe in owning people, he said finally. Her chin lifted slightly, eyes hopeful. Will you let me walk beside you, then? Not as owned. As chosen? He took a slow breath. If your uncle agrees, I won't turn you away. Her lips parted with relief, and for the first time, he saw a flicker of gratitude in her expression. She bowed her head briefly and then slipped back into the darkness of her sleeping family. William lay awake for hours. At dawn, the camp stirred. Smoke drifted into the pale morning sky as fires were rekindled. William approached the group's elder at Sabina's uncle, Bakana, who sat sharpening a bone knife. I need a word, William said. Bakana glanced up without warmth. Speak. Sabina wants to leave, William said. She broken bar. She asked if I would take her. The man's hands stilled. His eyes darkened, though not with shock. She told you this? Yes. He let out a long breath from his nose. She is stubborn, like her father. Spirit strong. Too strong for the man chosen for her. But she does not choose wisely. She chooses quickly. William bristled slightly. I won't harm her. Good. Bakana placed the knife down. If she goes with you, she must be wife, not servant. You take her with honor, or you do not take her. He studied William's face with sharp intensity. You will protect her, treat her with respect. If you break her, I will hunt you. William stood straighter. I don't intend to break anyone. Then you accept her? A strange warmth crept into William's chest. Yes. I accept her. Bakana nodded once, as if this confirmed something he expected. Then she is yours to walk beside. Not behind. The ceremony happened quickly and without fuss. A circle was drawn in the dirt. Cornmeal was shared between them. Small strips of cloth were tied around their wrists, hers red, his brown. No one sang, no one cried. But the air felt strangely full, as if the land itself believed the union mattered. Sabina looked beautiful and terrified. When their wrists were tied, she looked into his eyes with a hesitant, searching expression. William gave a reassuring nod, and she exhaled shakily. By noon, they were riding north together, leaving the Apache camp behind. The first days were quiet. She rode a few feet behind him out of habit, but he insisted she move beside him. She smiled shyly when she did. At night they made camp at a respectful distance, but little by little, conversation slipped easily between them. She asked about the world beyond the desert towns, markets, forests, snow. He asked about her childhood, her mother's old stories, the meaning of the designs woven into her blanket. She sang sometimes, soft songs in a language he didn't understand, and he found himself listening with a strange ache he couldn't name. One evening, while stars spread across the sky like scattered diamonds, she approached him as he cleaned his rifle. She knelt on the other side of the fire, her expression uncertain. You are patient with me, she said. And gentle. I am grateful. He gave a small smile. You don't owe me that. I owe you honesty, she said. I said I would be your wife if you wished it. I still mean that. her cheeks flushed with warmth. "If you do not a broken bar want that, then I will still walk beside you as long as you allow." William set the rifle aside. "Sabina broken bar, I barely know how to be a husband. I barely know how to be a wife," she admitted. "Maybe we learn together." He felt something inside him soften, melt. He reached out and gently touched her hand. She didn't pull away. That night, their first kiss happened slowly, carefully, full of newness and trembling warmth. They fell asleep close, her head resting lightly on his arm, as if belonging there. A week later, danger found them. They were crossing a narrow pass when three men rode up, ragged, armed, eyes fixed on Sabina like wolves spotting prey. Their leader sneered. "That's a fine Apache girl you got. We'll take her off your hands." "She's my wife," William said coldly. "You're not touching her." "Wife?" The man laughed. "She's worth good money. Move aside." Sabina's horse trembled beneath her, but her eyes blazed. "Leave now," William warned. Gunfire erupted. Chaos exploded across the trail, shouts, horses rearing, dust kicking up in choking clouds. William fired first, dropping one attacker. Another lunged for Sabina, but she was quick. She jumped down, pulling a hidden blade from her boot. She slashed at the man, fierce as a wildcat. William shouted her name, shooting the third rider before he could circle behind her. Moments later, it was over. Sabina stood panting. Blood spluttered across her sleeve but unhurt. She rushed to William, touching his face with trembling hands. "You are bleeding." "It's just a scratch," he said, wincing. She pressed her forehead against his. "We protect each other," she whispered fiercely. "Always." He pulled her close, afraid to let go. After that day, something deeper bound them. Their hands found each other more easily. Their laughter came quicker. Their silences became comfortable. Finally, after weeks of travel, they found a valley in the foothills, a green ribbon of land with a gentle creek and soft grass. William stopped his horse and said, "What do you think?" Sabina looked around, sunlight catching in her dark hair. "I think this feels like a place to live." So they stayed. They built a cabin with their hands, hauled stones from the stream, planted a small garden. Their nights were warm, filled with whispered dreams and soft promises. Their days were simple: cooking together, fishing, tending their horses, speaking of children they might have one day. Sometimes, in the quiet dawn, Sabina would curl against him and whisper, "You did not buy me to own me. You bought me to free me." And William, brushing his hand over her hair, would answer, "And you freed me right back." Their love had begun with a whisper of fear. It grew into a life of choice. And the wind that carried her first words, "Please broken bar by me," carried their laughter now.